Happy Friday to each and every one of you. Happy Friday. Breakfast is done. I'm full. I don't know how I'm going to act when it's time to actually go back to work because I've been sleeping late for the first time in over 40 years. And it's felt good. Excuse me, y'all. Yes, I have the AC on. And for me, sleeping late is getting up at, I get up this morning at 7:30. That's late for me. I'm normally up no later than 5 o'clock. 5 a.m. that is, everybody. But once again, happy Friday to each and every one of you. This is going to be a open forum. If there's anything you all would like to participate in or discuss, by all means, please do so. Now, keep in mind, I did say open forum. That means group interactions. So if you're not good at that, I don't know what else to tell you. I wish you well on your ventures. For those of you that are that woke up in clown mode this morning, what are you clowning about? I mean, yeah, after all, it's Friday. Some people use Friday of every week and every month to celebrate. What are you all celebrating? I would like to know. So what's going on in your world? Cheers. Good coffee. I'm gonna give everybody time to come on in. Come on in, everybody. Don't be shy. Happy Friday to all the freaks and geeks out there. I remember a time when being first meant something. Now, like with social media, for instance, being the first one on, nobody wants to be the first one online. Back in the day, being the first actually meant something. I don't really understand that. When did we become so laid back and lazy in life to where we don't want to be the only one standing alone? But I'm not gonna get on that right now. I got on that yesterday and I rode that horse hard yesterday. So anyway, happy Friday to each and every one of you. Once again, it's Mr. Pagan. If you've already subscribed, I appreciate each and every one of you. For those of you that has not subscribed yet, y'all know what to do. Everybody know the routine. I shouldn't have to say it every 5 minutes to like, comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. We all know what time it is. And I am not for everyone. I can't work the crowd, expect everybody to be on the same page. We all like what we like. We all have our dislikes. Happy Friday to all the freaks and geeks out there, whichever one you are. And for those of you that has been catching up and keeping up with that Diddy trial, let's talk about that for a minute. How many of you are tired of it? Or how many of you have been listening to some of the trial proceedings? And some of you was like, that's interesting. I can get with that. How many of you actually thought that? And hello to everybody. I see the chats popping up. Greetings to you all. So how many of you looked at the trial updates and proceedings and thought, oh, that's a sick rascal? And a small group of you said, well, wait a minute. Now, some of that stuff sound kind of interesting. How many got on the edge of the seats and with curiosity as to, how did that work? Yeah. So the reason why I'm saying this, we have to remember, even though this is the latest thing going on with his trial, and I'm not saying he's guilty, innocent, fry him, shoot him to the moon. I'm not saying any of that, but he's not the only one. So let's keep in mind that just because he's on trial for certain things, that's horrible and graphic to some people, does not mean that we don't have that same type of person in our immediate family. See, they like us to stay focused on one thing. I think us as a community, they expect us to be driven by social media and by fame. We are measuring people based on their fame. There are people just like him in almost every family that you have to look out for. Everybody knew growing up Everybody had that one weird uncle or auntie, you know. They're quick to call pedo, freak, whatever. There are just as many women out there straightening this stuff as men. And that's what people tend to forget. You know, everybody had that. Yeah, everybody had that. That weird grandma, a weird auntie on the corner. Yeah, and did just as much things, is not, if not more than what the Diddler allegedly is accused of. And I have to say the word allegedly. Do I believe he did a lot of this stuff? Well, it's not for me to believe or to judge or disbelieve. I think there were some activities that went on, as you can see in the tapes. But we all know tapes can be digitally mastered. They can be made to like something more than it is. You can do a video of your own self holding a fork. You can turn that fork into a shovel. So y'all, let's just be mindful of that. Let's think about the ones that are in our neighborhood. Let's think about that weird uncle or that sick auntie. Yeah, the one that used to grab on you when you used to go over there. It happens every day. I don't know why we're so in a state of shock or disbelief of some of the things. Now, if he was beating on these women and doing all these terrible alleged things, I stand against that. I really do. But a lot of this stuff that was so consensual, no matter how bad it looks now, I don't know what the truth is behind the fact that Kevin Hart closed his restaurants. They're trying to link the fact that he closed his restaurants to what's about to go down with him. Birds of a feather. But we're looking at it like, oh my God, all these celebrities, they all nasty. They just happen to be on a different pay scale than normal everyday people. You got these millionaires and billionaires that's renting out top floors for these jump offs and freak offs, but you've got the everyday guy that drives a tow truck and the man that runs a food truck. They doing the same stuff. They may just be doing it in the basement of their home. So it's on all levels. Let's not disassociate ourselves to thinking it's not us, it's them. No, it's all of us. It's on different levels. It's just simply the fact that you and I are not as popular. We're not in social medias we're not in the news every 5 minutes. This kind of stuff is happening on every level. And if you don't believe it, pay close attention to some of the things that your neighbors say. Some of the things that, like I said, your auntie say when you go visit, or your granddad, some of the stuff that he be saying. And then you got these people out here, and I know they're doing it for ratings, and I know they're doing it for money. You got these people out here now, everyday people, me, you, dude across the street, everyday normal people, putting their grandparents and their aunts and uncles on the talk and other platforms and asking them to tell them some of the freaky things they did. And now they got their grandma on there confessing to a whole lot of stuff. Now, who's to say that stuff don't go somewhere and grandma end up getting in trouble for some of it? This old lady really got on there, and she didn't confess. She talked about how she fed her kids and grandkids when she was slinging that monkey. Y'all know what she meant by slinging that monkey. So what's the statute on that? Somebody that's actually on live confessing that they used to be a prostitute. So, you young people, be careful when you're posting stuff on your grandparents and your uncles and aunties. I mean, I know y'all want the ratings, y'all want all this stuff, but be careful with that. These people are old. They don't really know. A lot of them don't really know what you are doing when you're videoing them. Some stuff needs to stay in the house. Some stuff needs to stay in the house. I mean, yeah. Because you could easily get your elder person in a lot of trouble behind some darn ratings. So let me see. That's what modern women are doing today with no problem. I don't quite understand what you meant by that. Can you explain that time? What about modern women today? We talked about health the other day. I started off 2.5 weeks ago, Modern, whatever your name is. So that's why I hate responding to these lives, because I get off my train of thought. Time, we talked about health and well-being 2.5 weeks ago, when my doctor first removed me from work. I covered all that. Actually, if you go back and look back through some of my lives, you probably will find it. I don't think I titled it Health and Wealth, but scroll through. We discussed all that, but right now we're talking about, people that are posting. See, I got sidetracked. People that are posting, the elderly out here, got them saying all this kind of stuff. Talking about, there's this one guy, this older white guy, big heavyset guy. I can't think of these people's names. I don't even want to say their names. Y'all just have to find them. And he's talking about some of the stuff he did and all this kind of stuff. He's kind of hilarious, but through all the videos I've seen of him, I did not see him making reference to nobody young. Nobody old, nobody he took advantage of. The fact that he had a couple of girls that he was pimping out. He wasn't saying that. One older black guy, that's what he was talking about. And he putting it out there. Yeah, he used to be a pimp. He had girls on the corner, blah, blah, blah. And this fool actually said something about he witnessed when one of them got killed, but he didn't say anything. Now, what if that's a cold case file? What if that falls into the wrong hands? Well, Mr. Jimmy John don't pretty much confess to being a witness to a murder. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all be careful putting your grandpa and your grandma and them on these lives and all these streams just for kids, because a lot of times they don't know no better. They confessing and don't even know. It might be funny to you. Your ratings might go up. You might get that check from whoever, YouTube or TikTok. I don't know, TikTok pay money. I don't even care. I'm only on YouTube. I'm not trying to bounce around and be on 5 different media platforms, because I'm not even in this for the money. I just get on here and run my mouth, about whatever the hell I feel like talking about. Like I said, it's titled Happy Friday, Freaks and Geeks. We can talk about the geeks. We can talk about these people that are too smart for their own damn good. They feel like they are in their own separate protective class. Well, y'all just stay over there in the corner. Y'all just stay over there till we get to y'all. You can wait. But with all these people putting in, they got this thing about, I don't know what they call this little girl, Miss, little bitty young girl. Her mama filming her doing this thing when they popping the fan and twisting and turning around and gyrating and dancing to some of these old songs that people was talking about sexually in their songs. Now that I disagree with, but let me say this, y'all. If this lady dumb enough to put her little kid out there, I don't know, the girl 5, 6, 7 years old, I don't know. If she dumb enough to do that, y'all let her be dumb by herself. Now they got people booking that little girl to get on stage with grown folks, sitting up here dancing like that seductively. She don't know what she doing. Maybe she do. I don't know. Maybe she's seen enough of what mama was doing. See, this is why I say all of this stuff that you deem to be sick, pedo, whatever you want to call it, it's hereditary. It's taught. This lady is showing y'all that she's teaching her own daughter to be that. But I don't know how old she is. Let's just say she is 6. You give her 12 years, she's gonna be in a club, strip club. If somebody don't put a stop to it, what I don't understand is she's being booked at some of these trail rides and some of these events. And she's up there dancing like that in front of thousands of screaming men and women. Where the police at? Because somewhere there has to be a crime in that. Somewhere has to be a crime. Now, what a lot of people were saying about this, y'all can find a little girl, Miss Whatever Dancer. Y'all probably already seen them. What I don't understand is every time they're showing this, because I was going through the talk and I clicked on one, then I just clicked on again. I just started watching all of the streams in reference to this little girl. One thing everybody said, I can't believe she out there, her mama got her dance out there in front of all these men, all these pedo men. Once again, y'all, we have pedo women too. We do. So y'all stop thinking for every 5 men that are pedos, there's 3 women. Y'all just keep that. Do the math. Y'all do that. But the fact remains, she's putting that little girl out there and screaming fans. There's obviously some drinking, screaming going on. She's up there popping her little fan with other adults. What the police said? This is a public venue that was geared towards grown people, and they booked this little girl to do this, just like they booking that Ivory girl. Y'all know who I'm talking about. That blue girl. She's way too young to be doing that. But what do y'all expect from Jay and Queen B, whatever y'all call them these days? They're producing more things for young kids to do, because y'all know allegedly Jay and his old lady was involved in some of that stuff with these young people. It's not so sick to think that they would not produce their own daughter to do the same shit. It's not. Don't y'all get it twisted. They are actually pimping that girl out. And that's what people are doing now. We don't even have a clue as to how we are pimping out these little kids and how we are corrupting people by putting our old elders online saying all kind of nasty stuff about back in the day. We don't have a clue. All we know is funny. I know when I sit here and I play one video back and I sit here and I study it, I'm like, wait a minute. Did this old dude just confess to being a witness to the murder of one of his hookers live? Yeah. By him confessing to it, he probably know the person that did it, because if he a pimp and they got regular Johns, he know which John did it. And maybe the John is dead now. He was an old dude that was confessing this, but still, that's one way to open up a cold case file. That's like, I can't understand for the life of me why you got people still out here doing home invasions. Almost every home got a camera, almost in every room. And then you got these little young clowns breaking into people's houses, and they looking dead into the camera. And one fool did it. He lived right across the street from the dude. Y'all probably seen that. The man got home, checked the camera, his back doors kicked in. He checked the camera. He saw his neighbor across the street, son doing it. Went across the street, confronted the daddy, and the man's camera was pointing across the street at the front of the house. The man came out there. Him and the other guy were having some words, and he showed on the video. He called his son out there, literally beat the snot out of his son right there live on camera. He ain't kill him or nothing, but he sure kicked that little boy ass. And that's what needs to be happening. Some of y'all need y'all ass kicked. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You really should. No, I can't say what I really want to say on here. Can I say I wish somebody would try to get in here while I'm here? I ain't gonna say that. I can't say that, y'all. But just say this. Y'all need to stop picking on people. People are protecting themselves. You know, people are. I know a lot of you like to hide behind social media. These what they call it, online bullies. Man, y'all, really? That's all you got? That's all you got going for yourself? But back to what I was saying about, you know, all these freaks and people thinking, don't get me wrong. All this stuff that Diddy allegedly did, you know, there are some horrible things. But how many of you, because there's a small percentage of us that look at some of the stuff and say, well, damn, I can get with that. How many of y'all actually thought about that while y'all was listening to some of these proceedings? You know, it may not be at the grand scale of what he was doing, but can't nobody see you. Raise your hand if you participated in some of those jump offs, freak offs, sex parties. Yeah. Don't act like he the only one. Like I said, these are people that are just on a grander scale. A lot of y'all don't participate in that stuff, seeing it. So does that make you a horrible person? Because you were in a room with 10 to 15 naked people? The horrible part is when you introduce the drugs and you beating on people. Now let's just take all that off the table. Let's just talk about the nature of the business. Y'all got together and y'all had a great jump off. Yeah. So does that make you any more horrible than that person? You know, I don't know what he did. I wasn't there. And I joke like everybody else. Shit, I wish I would have been invited. Yeah. I want to see. I'm nosy. I'm into voyeurism. I want to see what's going on. Everywhere I go, if I go sit at a restaurant, I like to people watch. I look around. I try to see if those two people look good together over there, or should those two people switch partners. Not in a bad, nasty way, but it's like, I wonder how they got together. You know, I like to people watch. I may or may not have peeked my head in a room or time or two and seen some stuff I ain't had no business doing We all may or may not have. But at some point of watching these proceedings, some of y'all said, oh my goodness, I like that. But I don't think you would go at it as deeply as he did. To each his own. And as far as all these celebrities getting caught up in it, y'all knew there was gonna come a time you was gonna get caught up in this stuff. Because everybody who they keep naming, all of a sudden they disappear. I remember a time you couldn't go scroll the higher channels on your television, the higher channels, not the cable stuff, but the local stuff. Every other channel, it was TD Jakes on there. I remember a time, every time you looked up, Beyonce. Every time you looked up, Kevin Hart is on 15 darn commercials and one news setting. I watch news for 2 hours in the morning. I see him doing these credit card commercials. I ain't knocking him. I'm gonna get your hustle on, Kevin, get your money. But have y'all noticed lately, these people are trying to ease out of the spotlight because they're guilty. And they cannot. You can't. This is what I don't understand. Okay, let's say you went once. Diddy or whoever invited you, you went once. And you may have gotten high, you may have sniffed or snorted or ingested, whatever. Okay, but you know when you got home that next day, you know your mind, you're gonna remember that you saw some stuff prior to that. It may not be the next day, but within a short period of time, you're gonna start remembering things. Okay, that's your first introduction to it. Now it's up to you to decide, I ain't going back over there no more. But if they got you going to 10 or 12 different freak offs and you flying from state to state to go to them, you can't blame it on the alcohol no more. You gonna blame it on your will to participate. It ain't got nothing to do with drugs no more. Cause at this point, you know you're gonna get drunk. You know it's gonna be all kind of freakiness going on. Now you got these people getting on stands saying, well, I was incapacitated beyond recognition. I was drunk. I was high. I didn't know what was happening. Fool, you done been to 12 of these freak offs from state to state. You knew getting on that plane what was gonna go down. Don't sit here and say you don't remember. No. Now what should they do? They should build a prison big enough for all those who playing like they don't remember and they trying to play crazy. Put them all in an institution. Put them all in there together. And when they staying there all day, every day, they got 1 hour to come out and they constantly listen to the same old sounds. You know, like back in the day when they used to do that Chinese torture. Yeah, let a faucet leak. Let all them sit in that quiet room day in and day out. Keep listening to that faucet leak or keep listening to different things. Sooner or later, one of them assholes gonna crack. They ain't gonna crack on stand. You know, silence will get you. That silence, y'all don't believe me? Spend some time alone on a dark night with absolutely nothing on. You're gonna focus in on one sound and you keep listening to it. That's a scientific fact. I ain't making that up. Now, do I believe a lot of these things took place? I absolutely certainly do believe a lot of them took place. Do I believe some people did it against their will? I absolutely believe some people did it against their will. But when you start hiring escorts to come to these things, and you participated as a lady, and I'm not talking about what lady, but if you participated as a lady in several of these parties, and you participated with what they call them, escort several times, he's been there. Now it's a week after the party, it's 2 weeks after the party. You seen all the way down in Miami from New York where the party was, partying and hanging out and taking an escort out to dinner and all these kind of other things. See, you can't sit there and say you don't know what happened in the party, you don't remember who was there, because damn, you got the dude all the way thousands of miles away in Miami on your dime, partying it up, taking pictures with him. But then they want to get on stage and say, well, I don't remember. I tell you what, wouldn't have been me there, because I've been like, man, I'm telling y'all every damn thing I saw and saw. Because here's the thing. Once you put yourself in that position, y'all already know this man is allegedly linked to murdering several people. At any given time, he gonna cap your ass anyway, whether you tell the truth or lie. Because at some point he feel like, well, if they got him on stand, sooner or later he gonna break. Yeah, he gonna take care of you. Y'all can sit and think about, telling a lie to say somebody else is gonna save your ass. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. I tease people all the time that I couldn't be an informant. They couldn't put me on the stand and the witness. I tell on myself all the time about a lot of shit. I was just telling a young lady last night on the phone the same thing. She said, "Oh, Mom, you a trip. You just put it out there." I said, "Yeah, I tell the truth about myself. I'll tell on my own damn self before somebody else will. If I know I'm guilty of something, they got me on the stand. Yes, sir, Your Honor. Yep. That's exactly what I did. You want me to tell you how it happened?" And a lot of times, you go to some of these proceedings, you read over some of them, they get the person to confess, but they don't want to hear that confession story of how it happened, why he did or she did what she did. See, they don't want to hear about that. They don't want to hear about the lady, that school teacher. There's been several of them. And all the cases are the same. She was having sex with 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students that was on a basketball team. She confessed. They locked her up. They ain't want to know nothing about her story, how she grew up, what may have prompted her to do these things, and one of the stories, later she just started talking about it. She was interviewed. She started talking about her mom and dad, her stepfather, and it was her stepbrother that got her started doing things, and the mom knew about it. The mom turned her back, and the mom was abusive to her, and all these things. See, it's a psychological thing. I'm not making an excuse for nobody that was out here and these coaches or whatever, doing things to these young kids in school. But a lot of times it can be a sickness. And my thing with all that is, if you want to be a sick some bitch, why you can't just be that? You find a group of grown, mature people, y'all create your own little circle and keep it mature. Keep it grown folks. Because I'm going to tell y'all, if I was doing something like that today, if I was having those parties today, it wouldn't be nobody in there under 45 years old. It wouldn't. Because you run the risk of the age dropping, the immaturity. When I have conversation with these young ladies, they trying to get to know me or whatever, and the minute they start wanting to talk about sexual situations, or everybody want to know what's the wildest thing you ever done. I started telling them, the immaturity of them instantly comes out with all the giggling, all the name dropping, all the references. I hate Cosby, I hate this and all that. I just say, that's enough of that conversation, because they're not mature enough to handle it. If you're not mature enough to handle said conversation, I'm not gonna waste my time discussing it with you. I don't believe in all that stuff. I don't believe in I can say it here because I know it's 3 clowns gonna do it anyway. I don't believe in all the name calling and name dropping. I don't. You know my damn name. Don't reference me as somebody else because I'm telling you about my past. I think that's the lamest thing you can do when you want to get to know somebody. I want to know their truth. I've seen a lot of stuff. I got enough stuff that I could write a decent book. I would say at least 350 pages. And it won't be a long chapter leading up to nothing. If I wrote a book, it's going to start off December 5th, 2011. This what happened, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be like that. I ain't got time to say, I invited this person. They pulled up in a black Cadillac. She had on a sequence. Man, forget all that. Forget all that. I had a lady friend right now today, getting ready to go camping. She told me she finna order some Harlequin romance books. Do they still print that? Do you know how boring those books? Well, to me they were. I peeked in them. I was like, okay. And I teased her. I said, I'm gonna write a novel for you to take with you. But y'all know what? I'm gonna write one. And I said, you gotta read it too, because it's gonna be a book report when you get back. I said, forget Harlequin romance. I'll write you one. I said, but warning, it's gonna be juicy. Now, that was once this black lady. I didn't know her, but I knew of her through somebody else. And she was writing a little paperback series. And hers was, they were funny. You know, she deliberately put in certain words. She deliberately misspelled certain words. She deliberately made reference to, at the time, society, how they talked, and all that stuff. I thought they were funny. I supported her. I bought 3 books. I don't even know where they are right now, but I supported them. They were $10 a piece. She was trying to get started. Like I say, I have several friends that have written novels and documentations or whatever they call it that I've read chapters of them. And I'm a terrible reader. I hate reading. But if it's something that's gonna catch my eye, something that's steamy and got a little bit of drama and a little bit of stuff in it, I can pay attention to it. I prefer to listen to it. But yeah, I'm gonna write this lady this little novel. I told her it might be about 8 pages, just something for her to read. Because I'm tired of having a phone conversation with her. All she's gonna be doing is giggling and hickling, kickling, cackling. I'm so tired of that shit. Now I sit there quietly, and she be like, "What's wrong?" Nothing. I just wait for her to stop laughing. But I'm gonna write it for her. And I told her, she said, "Well, it's gonna be about you." I said, "Allegedly, I don't know. It could be stories based on some of the things I've seen, some things I've witnessed. We all have a story to tell. Whether or not we're brave enough to tell it, I don't know. No, I ain't killed nobody, y'all. I don't have any bodies buried nowhere. I don't have anybody chained in no basements nowhere, nothing like that. No, nothing like that. It just amazed me how people can coming back full circle, how people can follow one situation, be it this Diddy, or be it the last person, be it the R. Kelly, and how we can just think that it only happens to the rich. It only happens to these people that are in movies and music. No, it don't. I'm telling y'all. Y'all think back to almost every weekend, the house down the street at the end of that cul-de-sac or that house down around the way, it was always 10 or 12 cars there. Used the same cars week in and week out. Very quiet, with a whole lot going on. People went out there and standing out there in the street and like that. Could have been some jump off parties. Because people, when they have them, I don't know. I can't say about today because that's why a lot of that stuff got messed up today. Fools don't know how to have a great party like that. They all out in the street acting a born fool. You're supposed to be discreet. Anyway, so I heard. Wink, wink. They've messed up a lot of things. They don't know how to have a great time. But I just, like I say, think back to when, I was wondering what was going on over there every weekend. Probably that was jump offs probably on your street. You didn't even know it. Didn't even know it. You'll pull up some of these people parties. You get invited to a party, and you pull up, looking around, Let's just say, I went to a friend's party, I took ice over there, y'all, that's my lie, I'm telling. I took ice for the drinks. And I was, he had a nice house, looking around, everybody parked neatly, everybody in there. To look at the neighborhood and look at the cul-de-sac, you would have never known there were that many naked ass people running around in their house. Because it's the way it's supposed to be. You don't supposed to know. It ain't for the public to know. When you start putting your business out there in the street like that, yeah, people tend to gravitate towards that. And when somebody want to get you, they're gonna get you. Y'all think this is just based on the celebrities, the music industry, the movie industry, that they sold. Tell y'all something. We all done sold our soul in one way or another. Some of y'all done sold y'all soul to your workplace, to the president of your company, and they would wring your ass out to dry just as fast as the next one. So don't just stop thinking it's just happening in the world of celebrities and all this stuff. No, this is everyday stuff, y'all. It can happen to you too. So next time, y'all, those of you that are out here putting your grandparents and your uncles and aunties on these lives, got them saying all this old wild stuff, y'all be careful with that. This person don't live their life. They mind no business. And y'all got them telling all the stuff they did. When they don't even realize, they know you got the camera there, but they don't even know what you're doing. Some of the old people don't even know that they've gone viral. That they've gotten 5,000, 6,000 hits. They don't even know it. They don't even know it. So y'all be careful with that. So but anyway, enough of me running my mouth once again. Happy Friday once again to all the freaks and geeks. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. And for those of you that already have subscribed, I think that ghost is moving around here again. I hope it's a nice ghost. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. For those of you that has already, I appreciate each and every one of you. I think I had too much coffee. I think I'm coffee drunk right now. But anyway, happy Friday, everybody. Take care.